If you're seeing this video, it means we haven't been taken down yet. The deep state is in a panic mode about the truth that is now coming out to the population of the United States and all over the world via social media, via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. They are in full meltdown mode. And so recently, we saw the censorship escalate to a whole new level, right? Last year, they came down hard on Alex Jones, on InfoWars, and on some of the other content creators. Now they have gone even further. They took Paul Joseph Watson off. They censored James Wood, the conservative actor. They took down Laura Loomer, the citizen journalist. They have now made it so that you can't even share InfoWars content on your social media, on your Facebook, unless you're condemning it. If you condemn it, then you can do that. But if you are not condemning it, you can eventually be banned from the platform. They have been saying that they're doing this because there's dangerous people, right? They never quite explain how Alex Jones or Paul Joseph Watson or even Louis Farrakhan are dangerous, but we're just expected to believe them. I'm quite sure Louis Farrakhan was just thrown in to make it seem like it wasn't only conservatives and Trump supporters who were being censored. But the reality is they are now coming after anybody who disapproves of the establishment's propaganda. They're picking off the easy targets first, and they will be moving on down the line to yours truly, to the New American Magazine, and so on, if this is not stopped. Now, the pushback has been quite fierce. There's now talk of an organized boycott of social media. There's people talking about boycotting YouTube, content creators, people who use YouTube to watch videos. Whether that will happen or not remains unclear. President Trump has been tweeting his support. He expressed his support for Paul Joseph Watson, who I know, and also for James Wood and for others who are victims of this social media censorship. And there's a lot of kind of freaking out, if you will, about what's happening. There's talk of this is election meddling, right? Is this a giant in-kind donation to the Democrat Party in the 2020 election? It sure seems like it. Before the 2018 election, they clamped down hard on Trump supporters. They deleted a whole bunch of Facebook pages. We know they've been using shadow banning and all the rest of it. But in a sense, I think this is actually some very good news. And hear me out before you start saying, oh, how can this be good news? We're being silenced. We're being deplatformed. Christians, conservatives, libertarians, truthers, we're all being purged from the web. But the reality, I think, is not quite so dramatic. First of all, I think this reflects a state of extreme anxiety by the deep state. And when we talk about the deep state, you have to go watch our episodes on Bilderberg, Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the secret societies, Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones, and so on, to get a kind of feeling of what the deep state is. And what you'll see is that all the big bosses of the social media companies, right, the heads of Facebook and Google and Microsoft, they all go to Bilderberg. The head of LinkedIn, of course, regular attendee at Bilderberg. They are all members, corporate members, affiliates of the Council on Foreign Relations. They're very much involved in the deep state. And in fact, one of the first people to use the term deep state, Mike Lofgren, talked about how the social media companies and Wall Street are kind of all part of this. Also, one of the whistleblowers within the National Security Council, Rich Higgins, who put together a fantastic memo on the agenda of the deep state, on the alliance between globalists, Islamists, socialists, all coming together to destroy America. You need to understand the heads of these social media companies and the heads of the big media companies, right? CNN, even Fox News, right? Fox News is owned by News Corporation. News Corporation is a corporate member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Rupert Murdoch, the head of all this, also involved with the Council on Foreign Relations. So they all kind of join forces behind the scenes where they think nobody's looking. And I think they're panicking right now because even though they control the mass media, even though they have a complete lock on what appears on your television, whether it be the networks or CNN or Fox or anything like that, they also control the social media. Even with all of that power, even with all of that money, all of those resources to spew their venom, to spew their hatred and their propaganda, they're still failing. And I have some numbers here. We did a cover story package in the New American when the deep state first started censoring last year overtly, right? People like Alex Jones. So some of these numbers are incredible. On an average day during election month in November of 2016, InfoWars on its YouTube channel was getting almost 3 million views. Throughout the election month, they got almost 100 million views on YouTube alone. By comparison, Fox News, which is by far the most popular cable news network on YouTube, was getting less than 2 million views on average, which is significantly less than Alex Jones and his InfoWars channel were getting. So they had about 60 million for the month, while InfoWars had about 82 million for the month. So, that tells you a little bit about what people, what consumers of video content on YouTube are really looking for. CNN, by comparison, the kings of fake news, very fake news, as our dear president refers to them, they had less than 1 million views per day. So, something like a third of the reach of InfoWars, which has a fraction of the budget, which is perpetually demonized by the fake news. Of course, Alex Jones and InfoWars also have far more listeners on national radio than CNN could ever dream of having. At this point, CNN gets less viewers than Ancient Aliens during prime time. So CNN is pretty pathetic. MSNBC, even worse, it's fewer than 750,000 viewers in an average day during election month. So the fake news media is dying. Yes, they have a lot of money. Yes, they have perfected the art of propaganda. But if you look at the numbers, Americans are not buying. Americans are not interested. They would rather go on YouTube and watch content that to them seems more truthful, that to them seems more honest, than to watch the propaganda that the establishment is putting out. So even with their rigged algorithms, even with their shadow bans, even with their censorship, the reality is that in this rigged marketplace of ideas, they still couldn't compete. So we don't have a free market of ideas. We haven't since the social media giants began the censorship campaign. But even in their rigged marketplace, they could not compete with the truth. And people who are involved in the alternative media and the truth community, the liberty movement, the conservative movement, and it's easy to despair and think, oh my goodness, we're being censored, or we're going to be deplatformed, we've been demonetized. But be encouraged, right? You don't need billions of dollars and membership in the Council on Foreign Relations to spread the truth. The truth stands on its own. The American people want the truth. The deep state is in a panic. They know that they no longer control the narrative, right? The 2016 election proved conclusively that they have lost control of the narrative, that the alternative media now calls the shots when it comes to shaping public perception, and that public perception is now geared more and more toward the truth. Yeah, 6% of people in the poll that I saw still say they trust the media. You wonder who those people are. Maybe they're living under a rock. Maybe they haven't left their house in years. They don't know what the real world is like anymore. But I think we should be very encouraged. The deep state is in a panic. Their increased censorship campaign shows it. And the more they do this, the more Americans are going to wake up. So don't worry, guys. The truth is getting out. Keep up the good work. Share this video. Like this video. Go to our website, thenewamerican.com. Subscribe to our print magazine. Right? Let me show you a copy here. Because as they censor us, we may have to go back to the old tool. So make sure you get a subscription to the New American magazine so you can buy. They can't censor a printed magazine. You can hand that to your neighbor. You can hand that to your congressman. You can hand that to your state representative. So thank you, folks. This is Behind the Deep State with Alex Newman. I'm Alex Newman. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.